Good evening. Welcome to the New Year's Eve edition of the 2020 Economic Recession and Preparation Channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you for joining me on December 31st, the last day of the decade, 2019. We've made it this far, folks, and a lot of people are surprised, including myself, that this economy, with all of the optimism and all of the pessimism, has survived this long, and all of the money printing that has been going on with the Fed. Today, the Dow Jones closed down 106 points, or just over 0.37%. And this is the year, folks, 2020. We're heading into the year of transition. This is the year of transition from optimism to pessimism. This is the year that you're going to see a lot of things. And I'm going to talk about three things briefly before we head into 2020. I want to share with you. First of all, CNBC.com is reporting that U.S. consumer confidence dips in December. Well, no duh. This is the fourth straight month now of consumer confidence dipping. That means spending is down. The percentage of consumers judging that business conditions are quote unquote good remained unchanged at 38.7%. Now, remember, guys, that's not even a high percentage. That's not like 50% or above. That's only 38% of the people surveyed, Americans across this country, believe that this economy is quote unquote good. Now, this is after all of the money printing. This is after the tax and corporate buybacks of stocks that we've seen this year in 2019. It has been a wild year, folks, and wild swings will continue into 2020. Consumer confidence will continue to dip as people realize that more Americans are going to realize that their dollars are just not stretching far, as like they used to. Okay. Now, on the commercial side, you should also note that earnings season was very disappointing in the third quarter and the fourth quarter. Okay, we can count on our hands the number of companies that had a positive earnings report. And I think most of you know which companies had those positive reports. Mainly Amazon, mainly some of the tech sectors that we see, such as the chip stocks, the blue chip stocks, AMD, Amazon, Facebook, Google, Alphabet, etc. But those tech stocks only make up 10 to 15% of the total stock market aggregate, okay? But yet they affect so much of the stock market, this stock market. So consumer confidence is down from 126.8 in November to 126.2 in December. So consumer confidence is down. Corporate earnings are starting to flatline, and I told you this before, a couple of previous videos ago, that you will see going into the early part of 2020, the momentum start to slow down, and this is what we're seeing. First, the consumer momentum will slow down. And that's not going to be, consumer confidence is not going to be completely slowed down until after April 15th. And why do I say that? Because of the tax, people will be getting the tax refunds back before then or around that time, and the rest of the stimulus will have worked through the economy. Okay, that's when consumer confidence. But in terms of corporate confidence, there's two things that I want you to watch for in terms of the corporate business things. Number one, mergers, big company mergers in the airline sector, in the food retail sector. That is going to be absolutely huge. Okay, and in the insurance and consumer services sector. Okay. Remember, back during the Depression and the last recession, we saw the same pattern. There were a lot of companies merging and a lot of big buyouts that went through. They got FCC approval and got all these approvals that normally would not happen because it's supposed to not happen because of the monopoly antitrust rules and the Smoot-Hartley Tariff Act. It wasn't supposed to happen, but they went ahead and put it through. This year, you're going to see 2020 will be the year of the mergers because companies realize that the earnings by themselves is no longer going to be enough to sustain the operations, the day-to-day operations of the company, meaning the salary, operating expenses, taxes, etc. Even though they've already offshored, more than 50% of U.S. jobs have now been, in terms of entry-level jobs, have been offshored to offshore, as we know. I have to be careful what I say, but offshore to these places, free labor basically. Okay, even though that's the case, they're still not able to turn over a profit. Okay, so this is a very precarious situation that we're in heading into 2020. Okay, the good news for us, there's two good news that we have. We still have time to prepare because, like I said, 2021 is when everything will be in place for the recession and or depression to really start, because we'll be into the new presidential term, whoever that may be. The election season is over, and whoever inherits this mess, they're not going to have any stimulus to work with because we're going to 0% interest rates next year. That's another big thing. Interest rates will continue to go down. Money printing by the Federal Reserve will continue to go up, and this Ponzi scheme will go on. But this is the final year. This is the year that you want to continue to make your preparations. Just like when they tell you the hurricane's coming to make preparations. Well, we're in the hurricane warning stage that lasts 24 to 36 hours before this thing hits. So it's no need to panic. It's no need to fear, but just be aware that they're going to tell you. Now, this article that CNBC said about consumer confidence going down, it's much worse than that because spending has gone down too, okay? So we have a perfect storm. Consumer spending has gone down, and if consumers make up 2/3 of the U.S. economy, right? Okay, so if spending is down, saving is down by the consumer. We also have a weak business spending model because the super rich people at the top, the 0.001% that has all the money, the real money, they're not spending. They're holding out because they know that the sales are coming to buy all of these asset classes, such as house and real estate and land and all of that at a discount once the economy resets. Okay, so everybody's gearing up for the reset, which we know was happening in the beginning of 2021, but 2020 is a transition year. Okay, now, two things I want you to note. Like I said, during the Depression, there was a huge bunch of mergers. During this next year, this is going to be crucial. There's going to be a bunch of mergers that are going to be coming in, and I told you the sectors. Also, I want you to watch in the beginning of 2020, I want you to watch also the inflationary measures on food, particularly at the grocery store, and energy, okay? Depending on how bad the winter is, the Farmer's Almanac is telling us that for the most of the country, we're going to have a kind of a near average winter. The only one that's going to be below average is our friends in the Pacific Northwest. They're going to have a lot of snowstorms and rain for the lower Central Valley. But for the most part, we should have a near average to slightly average winter, okay, in terms of snowstorms. For those of you in the snow belt, particular snow belts, lake effect snow zones, you're going to get the usual normal. Some places may be above average, particularly along Oswego and Watertown, those places up there in Buffalo. You may see a little bit above average snowfall this winter. But look at energy costs. Food costs are going to go up in the first quarter of 2020, because of that's when we're going to start feeling the effects of the Midwest floods that we had this year that they didn't tell you about. Okay, so be very judicious with your spending during this first quarter from January to about March, April, okay? If you're fortunate enough to get a tax refund or any of those breaks, please spend that judiciously or save that and buy tangible assets, gold, silver, food, water, ammo, medicine, supplies, okay? Because those things are going to be in short supply in 2021 when all of this consumerism, all of this debt is going to come crumbling down because we're in an everything bubble. In 2008, we were just in a housing and real estate bubble. This is an everything bubble from housing, real estate, student loans, auto loans, derivatives, bonds, junk bonds. Everything is in a bad state. And so the media, from CNBC to MSNBC to Bloomberg, wherever you watch, BBC, CNN, they're not going to tell you the full extent. They're just going to tell you, like the article says here today, U.S. consumer confidence dips in December. Well, tell us something we don't know, guys. So it is going to get much worse. Crime is going to go up too. So invest in security too. If you're kind of a pacifist, that's fine too. But you can have secure means such as webcam cameras, cloud cameras. There's a host of things that you can do to secure what's yours. Because crime is going to go up as people begin to realize that everything is not okay here in the United States. Okay, and like I said, that's the things that we need to be concerned about. That's the things that we need to be prepared for. And like I said, it can happen overnight. But I'm so thankful that God has spared us to see 2020. and that he's given us time to transition slowly into this more of a minimalist lifestyle that we're all going to be forced to live, okay, and to deal with. And I think we can do that. We're good-hearted working Americans. We do the best we can with what we have, but it's going to take some ingenuity. It's going to take some planning, and it's going to take a little bit of sacrifice. And I know that's something that we don't like to generally do. We want to have the roaring 20s. In the roaring 20s, they had everybody out doing all of this thing, shopping, and just everything is merry. There's a time for that, but there's also a time to prepare. And you can't get prepared when the masses of people are out at these stores like Costco, Walmart, Sam's, Target. You can't get prepared when the news channel tells you, oh, yeah, we're in a recession now, by the way. It's too late then. There'll be no water on the shelves. There'll be no ammo in the stores. There'll be no food. There'll be no supplies, okay? The time to prepare is now. So think about that once the holidays are past, once New Year went fully into the new year, end of January. Start thinking about that and planning. I'm doing the same. Like I said, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I do splurge and, I go out to eat fast food, stuff that I shouldn't do. But I'm working day by day to get myself in physical shape, better mental shape, better emotional shape to prepare for what's coming. Because once it comes, and not only if consumer confidence dips, but once the Fed Reserve comes out and says, look, we've cut rates to zero, we have this massive debt, and the world is in trouble. That's the problem. The world is in a massive debt bubble and slowing down. And so once they figure out that we can't go to war, we're too broke to go into being another war like we are in Afghanistan for 20 years. And that's not going to be a solution. Once they figure that out, the only solution left is to do a worldwide reset, and that's going to drop everybody into a second world condition, okay? So get used to it now, get prepared, and enjoy your new year tonight and tomorrow. For those of you who are already in my Australian friends and those who are already a couple of time zones ahead of us, Happy New Year to you guys down under, and those in Asia and Japan, Tokyo, Singapore, Philippines, Korea, South Korea. Happy New Year to you guys as well. Blessings. Stay safe. Get prepared. And to all my friends, continue to prepare, continue to prep. Do not get lulled to sleep, because this is the year right here, 2020, that the transition is going to happen, and we're seeing it right now. Things are slowing down right now, and so do not look at the numbers in the stock market. If you have stock market investments, that's great, but don't put all your eggs in one basket. Realize that it's just in a bubble right now, and that this year you're going to see volatility, and you're going to see things go down, not just stock market, but retail, everything go down, and prices go up. So stay prepared, be blessed. I'll talk to you guys later after the New Year's. Have a great day. Bye bye.